My name is Dr Okafor Chidumeje, CEO at OurDrKing Foundation Nigeria, the Lupus Day, the convener, treatathon. Strange things happen in the hospital, in hospitals. Okay, now I'm going to tell you this another scary story about what happened in the hospital. There's one particular night I was on the emergency section. That I was on call duty. So our call room is close to the emergency. So at around 1 a.m. 1 a.m. in the night. It was raining heavily that night. Vigilante people, the town vigilante, brought in accident victims. 3 accident victims. A woman, her child, and another man. So the man was badly injured, but he made it. The woman was also very bad. The child wasn't really that bad. So we started managing them. Then after like about 45 minutes of stabilizing them, I handed over to the nurse on duty for monitoring and now went into the call room. Remember I said 1 a.m. earlier. Around let's say 3 a.m. the nurse come and called me that the patient, the lady is complaining of that the neck collar I fixed her is too tight and that it's stopping her from breathing and those stuff. So I went there. I tried my best to, in fact, it was actually not tight. So I just more like loosened it and fixed it back the way I fixed it before. And I told the patient, "Are you okay now?" The patient said yes. And I told the patient that this thing is necessary, but that if it becomes too tight again, she should always tell the nurse to call me. The lady said okay, and I now went back in. Now, I don't know. I didn't monitor the child. I didn't go to the child's bed. Remember, I told you that child wasn't really badly injured. So, for obvious reason, maybe very, very, very bad on my own part, I didn't go back to that child to check the child. So I just moved back. I just left the other 2 people who didn't complain of anything and just moved back to the call room. So went back and dozed off immediately. So in the next 40 minutes or so, the window to our call room is actually pointed to a forest, more like the typical way hospitals look now. The giant hospitals surrounded by forest. So the only window to that room is pointed to a forest. So then the door is now pointed to inside the hospital. So that means you can't access that window except you leave that hospital completely. That means you are now in between the buildings and the wall of the facility. Of course, there are acres of land between the wall and the acres of forest between the wall and the facility. So you are now, for you to access that window, that means you are now in that forest. Okay, so in the night around let's say 3:30 or 3:45, someone knocked on my window. It was raining heavily, so I looked over to the window. Somebody was clearly there, so I just shined my torch, and I was shining torch on the child. So I now asked the child, "What are you doing here? What's the problem?" The child now said that it's her mommy, that her mom is not feeling fine, that her mom is still complaining of that neck collar. I said, "Your mommy? Which mommy?" He said, "Mommy said." And I said, "What are you doing outside here? How did you go outside?" The child didn't talk much. So I was not like, "Don't worry, go. I'm coming back. I'm coming in." So I just dressed, went in. Now, when I went into that place, that child was lying on the bed. So, but from his position, I assumed that maybe because of the scolding, maybe he now, children now, because like I told you, the child wasn't really looking that sick. Maybe he just ran back and ran through the door of the reception and went back and laid down. So I went to the woman. The woman told me yes, that thing has started paining her again. I said, oh, really? I told her that your child, your baby, your boy just was one that called me. She said, really? I said yes. So I loosened the stuff again and now made it a bit loose and placed her back. And I told her maybe we should change position. So I removed some pillows from under her and placed one that will extend from the head down to the mid back, so that there won't be any coughs. I now left. When I went back to the room, I now started thinking, how can this child come here? Even if the child raced with this heavy rain, and that child I saw wasn't looking wet, and there should be wetness on the floor. I now went back to that place, went to that child and looked. Wow. My sincere condolence to that family. The child was already dead. So I now called nurse and told nurse that it was this child that just came and called me that this neck is paining this woman. And when I came, the neck collar was actually still paining the woman. What now happened? The nurse told me they doesn't know. We went back, we started resuscitating that child, doing everything possible. The child never really recovered again. So, well, it was now after autopsy that the child had very, very bad internal injury that was never really obvious. In fact, even the spleen and liver ruptured. This story was so scary.